I got a foul mouth.
We're going live now. What's up, peoples? What's up? Welcome to another episode of Trap No More podcast. Man, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day. I know some of you are probably wanting to relax right now on this beautiful Sunday, but I thank you. I definitely thank you for being here. Hold on. Why isn't it coming on? Hold on. Sorry about that. Let me see. I don't see it on. Hold on. Why isn't it on? I don't see it on
I'm
YouTube.
showing we're live 2 minutes in.
No, we are live, but okay, there we go. Okay, we're on there.
Okay.
We are on there. Okay. I look a little blurry on my side though, for whatever reason. I have no idea. Hold on real quick. Let me see. Let me try this real quick. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Oh, shoot. I don't know why I'm coming out looking all crazy like that.
Yeah, you're a little blurry on my end.
I am, Hold on. Let me see. Hold on real quick, guys. Sorry about that. Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Why is it doing that? Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. Nope. Hold on. Okay, let me jump back into it. Let me see. I don't know why it's looking all blurry on my TV. Hold on. Anyways, man, thank you guys for tapping in on this beautiful Sunday evening. I know you guys could be doing a whole bunch of other things right now, but you decided to join today, and I appreciate that. You are not going to be disappointed with this episode today. I have a beautiful young lady on here that has a tremendous story to share with you guys. And man, it's a deep story. Be prepared to have your emotions challenged. And for all of you that have children incarcerated, you know what? Just pray through this situation, because she's going to hit you with some real talk. And I encourage you just to watch the whole thing all the way through. Just be patient as she lays out her story, because it's it's a deep story. And I'm grateful to have her on here. As you've seen in the thumbnail, she is Free My Son, and that's what she's doing. She's battling, battling for her son, in every way possible. And I watched a couple of her videos, and I was moved. I said, you know what, I need to get a hold of this lady and see what's going on with her situation. And I'm going to let her tell her story. But before we put her on the screen, if you haven't already hit the subscribe, please be sure to hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the share. go ahead and start commenting. I do like to comment with you, so put some comments in there and let's get active. So without further ado, let me bring Free My Son onto the stage.
Hi, guys.
And she is. Welcome to the platform.
Thanks for having me. Sorry, my little puppies wanted to say hi too to everybody.
Okay, all right. Well, thank
you, Jojo, for having me, and thank you for reaching out. It really meant a lot to me. When I first started my journey, when my son first went to prison, we're in California, so he's in the CDCR, and he went straight to level 4. I was not prepared in any way, shape, or form. I did not have a support system. I didn't know where to go, and I just needed a way to vent. I needed a way to say my son's name. I needed a way to, it was cathartic for me to share my son's picture. I didn't care about views or followers. I didn't care about any of that. It was just not YouTube, but sorry. TikTok was just a place that I could go and just dump what I was feeling, I didn't care if anybody watched it. It was just for myself. Yeah. And for some reason, it resonated with people, and the prison life family and other prison moms and families and daughters and, people that have been involved in this lifestyle. A lot of people who are incarcerated follow me and reach out to me, and they're like, man, I wish I had a mom like you. Or my mom passed since I've been in prison. And I know you and I have discussed that may your mother rest in peace. She passed, during your incarceration. And so I think my message hits differently in different ways for different people at different stages.
Yeah, most definitely. So Stephanie, if you don't mind, can you tell us a little bit about, your personal life and, what your home was like growing up, and
absolutely
we'll take it from there,
Yeah. So I come from Kern County, where I'm in California. I come from Kern County, Bakersfield specifically. And I grew up on Eastside Bakersfield. And the way that I grew up, I came from a dysfunctional family, a dysfunctional household. I was running the streets very, very young. As young as 11 years old, I was running the streets with gang members, places that no child should be. My mother has been incarcerated most of my life. So I have that experience of being the child of someone incarcerated, having that absent parent. My brother is currently incarcerated in CDCR. My sister delivered a baby incarcerated. So there's a lot of familial incarceration. That's just what was normal to me. And my first husband was incarcerated. So I have that experience, that background that was not foreign to me. So running the streets at a young age, I navigated toward people in a similar situation. And I married somebody that was in that lifestyle in the streets. And he ended up doing prison time. We had 2 children together, and now one of my children is incarcerated. And he went in at 18 years old. It's been really traumatic, traumatizing, even with my experience and my background. And nothing can prepare you having a child incarcerated. It is literally like your child has been kidnapped by the government. That's what it feels like. And I have struggled tremendously. But I got out of the streets. I got out of that life. I went to school. I got an education. And I'm currently married to a person who has no background in that lifestyle, does not come from a family from that lifestyle. So there was it's different cultures really when we came together, and that caused a lot of conflict. It caused conflict in our marriage when my son was incarcerated because he didn't understand. His family didn't understand. Friends that I've made, coworkers, nobody understood. And by looking at me, a lot of people don't know that I come from that background.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and coming from that background, like you said, nothing can prepare you when your child gets incarcerated. Like you said, it feels like he was literally kidnapped, and um, in no way or fashion do I ever want to minimize our behaviors and what gets us in that situation. But
That's
for a
right.
mother, though, and what I always share, though, is that, you know, myself as an example was I was a young boy running the streets, wild, acting a fool.
Yep.
And my mother was a good mother. She was a hard worker. She did everything to provide for us. And I had my father in the home as well. But yet the streets had so much influence on my life. I chose to disregard, the moral values that I had learned in my home, and because of that, I found myself in a lot of trouble in the streets. And I literally drove my mother crazy for
Yeah.
real. Literally, I'm talking about hospital visits because of anxiety attacks,
Yeah.
stress. And as a young boy, I didn't realize the damage that I was doing to my mother. Mainly my mother. My sisters and my father, everybody else. You know, it's different with them, but with my mother though, because my mother was like my ride or die. And hearing your story and seeing your fight, it reminds me a lot of my own mother. Because my mother's the type that I always say this. My mother would go to court. They would have me on video camera. They'll have me on video camera, and my mom would go and say, "No, that's not him. That he was with me." I mean, that's how my mom was. My
Yeah,
mom was like
I
that.
would lie on a stack of Bibles this big, and
That
I would lie, I would whatever,
yeah,
But I realized, that I was defending a lot of my son's bad behavior, and it was like, no, he's just going through a phase. He's going through this. He's just going. Yeah, I made a lot of excuses for his
yeah.
behavior,
And I know
and
you shared. I know
do
you
that.
shared when we were first talking about how he was very young when he
Yes,
started getting in trouble with the law. And
yes.
was there any, like, when he first started getting in trouble with the law? I know you made a statement to me about how he didn't fear it. He didn't have no fear in the consequences.
None.
And as a mother, as a disciplinaire, how were you trying to correct them behaviors at that time?
I saw his behavior of not listening, not wanting to follow rules as early as 3 years old. I saw it. I saw something in this child. He did not listen to anybody for about anything. I saw this streak of defiance in him as young as 3 years old. And I had another child who's 3 years older than him, and I didn't see that in him. I didn't see that in the other kids that I had. Him, I knew. And I actually said jokingly, but not jokingly, I said, "Oh my God, this kid's gonna end up in freaking prison." I mean, he does not listen to a damn thing. He does not listen. He does not care. He does not care about the timeouts. None of that. I tried to correct his behavior. I tried everything. I get a lot of people that pass judgment on me and say, "He must have been a bad mother. He must have been abused. He must have come from, a horrible household. You must have been a single mother." I get that all the time. And the truth is, my current husband and I, we've been together for 19 years. My son is 23. So he was raised in a two-parent household. My son had sports. He had everything. He had all the opportunities because I got out of that life that I grew up in. I did everything to get away from that life. As young as 5 years old, I shared this story with you. When my son was 5 years old, he kept stealing. We go to the store and he just kept stealing, and he did not care. I took his little butt. I thought, what can I do? How do I correct this behavior? How do I get on top of it right now? I took him to the police station, and this little shit says, I tell the police officers there, I said, "Hey, I need you to help me out. I really need some help. He is acting up. I cannot get him under control at home. He's out of control at school, and now he's stealing. So can you please put some handcuffs on him? Can you scare him? Can you take him in another room?" And they thought it was funny, and I'm like, "No, I'm serious. I need to. I can already see that this is he has this almost like antisocial behavior at 5 years old. I recognize it. I grew up around people like that. I saw it in him so young. So they said, "Okay, turn around and put the handcuffs on him." He looked at me and smiled and told me bye.
Oh
Just
my.
like that. Told me, bye. I said, well, you're going to prison. I said, you're gonna be gone to prison. Where I'm taking your brothers, and we're gonna go have ice cream, and we're gonna go do this. We're gonna go to Disneyland. I told him all kinds of crazy shit, trying to like let him know you're not. I said, when you go to prison, you're not gonna have any fun. You're not gonna have any friends. You're not gonna get any kind of toys there. He looked me dead in my eye and waved at me through the handcuffs. Bye. He did not care. He was not scared. Nothing scared him. Nothing scared him. I tried everything. I stripped his room down. I mean, I took everything he owned, made him wear one set of clothes to school because he kept getting in trouble at school. I'd be at work trying to work. And I work in the medical field, and I'm dealing with patients' lives, right? So I'm getting phone calls in between patients, and it's like, oh, you got to come pick your kid up. Your kid is doing this. Your kid's doing that. He would not listen to anything. So people assumed, that I didn't try to correct his behavior. Totally wrong. Total misjudgment. I tried from a very early age. I could not get through to him. I tried to take him to counseling. I tried to work with the school with him. And the school ultimately told me, you have to medicate him or he can no longer be in school. We have no options left. Like, we've tried everything. You have to medicate him. I have to go to work. I have a mortgage to pay. And at this time, it's like, I've got 4 kids. I don't think my daughter was born yet, but it's like, I've got a mortgage to pay. I've got bills to pay. Homeschooling him is not an option. That's not an option for me. So I ended up taking him to a psychiatrist. He said, he's got ADHD. Yep. He's got to be medicated. I did not like that idea. I felt pressured into doing it. I did it, and I'm not making excuses for myself, but something that I shared with you that I'm going to share today with everyone, just to give a little bit of insight into why and how my son is the way that he is. There was an accidental overdose on Adderall that he was prescribed by the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist wrote the wrong number down on the prescription. I didn't catch it. The pharmacist didn't catch it. And he ended up at 8 years old in an amphetamine-induced psychosis. So anybody that knows anything about meth or amphetamine or, Adderall, any of those things, if you've ever seen anyone, my mother I saw multiple times in amphetamine-induced psychosis. So I witnessed it as a kid. It's horrendous. But to see an 8-year-old in a full-blown psychosis for 2 months straight. He thought people were climbing up the walls. He thought hands were coming out from under the couch to take his feet. He thought I was trying to poison him. He had severe paranoia. He didn't want to eat. He wouldn't use a fork. Just so many things. So we had multiple hospital stays trying to figure out what was going on. And they did a scan of his brain, and only 30% of his frontal lobe works. So for the people that don't know what the frontal lobe of your brain does, the frontal lobe of your brain is responsible for weighing right and wrong. In no way is this to make an excuse for my son. He definitely has, the ability to have control of his brain, to a certain extent. But impulsive behavior, which he already struggled with, impulse control, ability to know right from wrong, to be able to see the outcome. Like, I know if I walk out in front of a bus, I can think logically that bus is probably going to hit me and I'm probably going to die, right? For him, he just thinks like, oh, the ball rolled out in the street. I'm just going to walk in the street. Sure, there's a bus coming, but I need the ball. Mm-hmm. So his processing in his brain is different. It's not, his brain does not work the same as mine and your brain does. Yeah. So that's at 8 years old. So he already had, prior to that, he had this issue where he did not want to listen. He was already acting up. Then you add a medical condition on top of this. He's got learning disabilities. He is a federally protected disabled person. So now I've got a kid who's really struggling. He's struggling with hallucinations. The doctor's like, he's got to take this medication, that medication. He did not like taking medication at all. So there was a lot of trauma, a lot of like PTSD as young as 8 years old.
Wow. Wow.
And so that was already like a couple strikes against him right there, right? Just in trying to just be a normal human being living life and trying to, and for me as a mother, try to gear him. Okay, he's going left. Let me get you back straight. I got to keep pulling him back. Phone calls from the school again. He's doing this. He's doing that. Getting suspended. He's racking up all of this stuff at school. So now he's got this like, not refusing to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
Truancy. Now we've got truancy issues. And at 13, so like I said, I was from Eastside Bakersfield, where I was born and raised. My first, his dad, my first husband, his family lived in the East Side. In an effort, his father passed away in the streets. His father passed away just when he was very young. He was like 3 years old. But I tried to maintain that contact with his dad's family, and a lot of them are in the lifestyle. A lot of them are from that life. They're, as much as I would say, don't do this in front of him. Don't talk about this in front of him. Keep this away from the kids, especially him, because he is so vulnerable. Mm-hmm. I could already see where he would be attracted to that lifestyle, where he would be attracted to the streets because he's just his character. My oldest son, he didn't have any desire to run the streets, none of that. But this one, my second son, the one that's incarcerated, he was very attracted to that lifestyle. So in an effort to maintain a relationship with that family, that was really detrimental to him. And could I turn back time? I would have just moved far away, got him completely away from it. But at 13 years old, he went to go visit his grandparents and his family over there, and ended up breaking into a school at 13 to steal candy, kids stuff, but kids should not be breaking into anywhere. So I'm not making excuses for breaking and entering. Like, we shouldn't be doing that, right? He knew better. He knew what he was doing was wrong. Well, the kid that he was with ended up stealing a computer. I've heard different variations of the story. A computer, a piece of a laptop. I don't know what he stole, but it was whatever, something related to the computer, ended up being valued at over $500 or whatever the threshold was for a felony. So at 13 years old, he catches his first case and goes into Crossroads. And anybody from Kern County who knows about the old school Crossroads, that's where he ended up going. So he gets sentenced to 6 months. Very long story there that I don't know that we have time to get into, but I explained to you, he ended up doing 4.5 years of juvenile time.
Yeah.
He was severely abused in the system, almost died. He was handcuffed, beat, and almost drowned by 2 COs. I took a case all the way to the California Supreme Court for abuse. It started a class action lawsuit against Crossroads in Kern County and the superintendent of schools for Kern County for having my son in isolation for 9 months, which is completely illegal. You can't do that to juveniles, but they did it. And he got no education. So that's what triggered the lawsuit. And it grew and grew. We had 7 attorneys, and we went took it all the way to the California Supreme Court. Everyone laughed at me. Everyone, even my own family, laughed. Oh, you can't do this. I said, watch me. These kids are being abused. There was kids with glasses. They would take their glasses away. They literally could not see without their glasses. And the COs there thought that was hilarious. My son for 9 months was kept in isolation. He was beaten, abused. I visited him. He was bruised. I mean, there were kids dying. There were kids committing suicide. There were kids that were dying under mysterious circumstances. So since my son is a disabled person, I was able to get in touch with California Disability Rights of California. So if anyone ever runs into a situation like this, they're in Sacramento, you can reach out to them. I ended up with a team of 7 attorneys, and we won $1.2 million in that case. So everyone laughed at me, my personal life. Nobody wanted to hear about it, thought I was crazy. but it took 7 years to win that case. My son was already in state prison by that time, and I didn't care. I kept going with that case. And the last I heard, in the 3 years since that case has been settled, not a single kid has died. That we've got. I showed you the documentation of that case. I showed you the paperwork on that, and it was deep. But we got a ton of reform. Everybody said it was impossible. We got reform for the kids, and they are in a much better situation. There's now a full-time psychiatrist on staff. The kids have I think they call it a MET team. It might be something else. In the medical field, they call it a MET team. It's a psychiatric response unit. So they didn't have any of that before this lawsuit, where kids were just being beaten and abused for acting up. Yeah. And you got to remember, most of these kids are from the foster care system. They're not from households like mine. They're from the foster care system, and they don't have moms. They don't have parents to speak up. A lot of their parents are incarcerated. And then these kids can go there as young as 8, 9 years old. Wow. My son's crying was 9 years old the very first time that he went there.
Wow.
Crossroads.
And I think if I remember correctly, you shared how there was times where they didn't even allow you to visit him because they didn't want you to see his markings, right? That's right.
They wouldn't allow him to call out, wouldn't allow him to call the phone. And like I told you, I lost my shit. I went batshit crazy. I went up in there, and I don't know how much I should say on here, but I let them know that I'm a CCW carrier, which means in the state of California, I'm licensed to carry a gun. I know they don't have guns in that building. So I told them that. I walked in and I said, "You've got 5 minutes to produce my son. And I'm letting you know right now, I'm a CCW holder, and I have the right to use my weapon if I feel that there is a life in danger." But my son's life is in danger, I feel, right now. I haven't spoken to him. And I think at that point it had been like 7 days, 9 days, and we spoke every single day. I said, something is wrong with my son. And if I have to come in here with a weapon, I will come in here with a weapon. And I know that sounds crazy. This is when I'm starting to lose it, right? I'm going into a government, building saying, I'm going to come in here with a weapon, and you're going to produce my son. This is going to go one of two ways. Yeah. I'm starting to snap a bit here.
Did they call the local police in that situation on you?
They didn't. They laughed at me, thought that was hilarious. But at the same time, I said, I'm not playing with you. You have 5 minutes to produce my son, or this is going to escalate, and this is going to turn into a whole situation. And they produced him. And when they brought him in, he was covered head to toe in bruises. He was covered. He had been severely beaten and bruised. That's the time that he had been cuffed. He was 14 years old, and he had been cuffed, beaten in a cell because he wouldn't say sir to the staff there. The guy said, "You're going to call me sir." My son said, "Fuck you. No, I'm not going to call you sir. You can kiss my ass." He said, "You call me a bitch every day. You make fun of me. I'm not calling you sir ever. I'm never going to say it." And if you could tell by my personality, this is where his little ass gets his stubbornness from. So I wouldn't call him sir either. I would take that ass whooping, and I would not call him sir either. And this defiance is probably, not a good thing that he has picked up from me too. But I'm incredibly defiant too, and I'm not taking no for an answer. I'm here to show up for my son. I'm not the one. You picked the right one to battle with.
So how long did he end up doing there in that? It was called Crossroads
facility.
Yeah. How long did he end up doing there altogether?
A total of 4.5 years. He got out. There's a couple little breaks here and there, but he did 4.5 years from the age of 13 to 18. So on his 18th birthday, he was released.
Wow.
He was released, and they made him sign a form. From what he's explained to me, I've never heard of this form. I don't know what the form is. I've never seen it. I've never heard, I don't know what it was. But he signed something because you could go back, I think, until the age of 19 to Crossroads. I think they kept him until he could potentially have gone back to the age of 19. And you can go to YA up to the age of 25. But he signed some paperwork that said all of that was off the table. It was his 18th birthday. He's a person who's disabled. He has no comprehension of anything that he's signing. He doesn't have me there to look it over, nothing. He signed this paperwork. So then you have a kid who's completely been traumatized, who's been beaten, abused, starved. I mean, when I say that they put him in isolation, I don't mean they locked him in a room and he had books and like, no, he was in his underwear with nothing in his room. He didn't have a cot. He didn't have a pillow. He didn't have a blanket. He had nothing. They stripped him down into his underwear for 9 months. And he couldn't go to school, nothing. He had no books, nothing. Wow. So when I tell you this kid for all this time, it's been trauma, 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 trauma. Not to make excuses for his shitty behavior, but we also have to take into account you have a kid who's had all of this trauma, layer after layer upon layer after layer, and they just crack the door open. And he's expected to now go out into the world at 18 years old and just function and be a normal person in society.
Yeah. That's
Would you guess how that turned out? You already know how that turned out.
Yeah. Hold up though, right there. Let's I want to know though how, because at this point you have 2 other young children in the home by this time?
I have a total of 5 children. So I had 1 older and I had 4 younger.
Okay.
Or 3 younger, I'm sorry.
So the ones at home, you had 3 younger ones at home plus him and the oldest one, right? That was
the oldest one, yeah. One lived with us part-time. He's technically my stepson, but he's my son. So he lived part-time with us, part-time with his mom. So he was saved from a lot of the stuff that was going on in our household, luckily. Thank God he was able to be protected to some extent from what was happening in our household.
So how were the younger siblings taking all of this? Because I'm sure they would see you, in an uproar, see you, on the phone fighting and, trying to get answers. And, they're probably concerned that their brother, that something, they're young, so they don't really know what's going on with their brother. But how are they going through that? How was it?
Well, I have a younger son who, he had his own trauma at this time, around this time too, right? My son was getting out. His dad passed away suddenly. My second husband, his dad passed away suddenly and tragically, and my son was 15. So we also had that traumatic event happening in our household, and my son was devastated. He was so close to his dad. His dad was an amazing man and a great father, very present, very involved, and tragically he died very suddenly. So we had that trauma also going on at home. And I was so hyper focused on what was happening with my second son, Patrick is his name. I was so hyper fixated in a state of fight or flight for him that I wish I could turn back the hands of time. I did the best that I could to try to be there for my son who lost his dad, and I failed him terribly. I just failed him. I did. I completely failed him. I lost my sobriety at that time. It was just all too much. So I lost my sobriety. I'm back in my addiction, and I had a younger daughter who was, she was 11 years old at that time, 10, 11 years old. And she was she's the baby of the family. And for her, it was kind of like she wasn't the squeaky wheel. She did everything right, went to school, got good grades. She was kind of a model child. Mm-hmm. Even through this chaos, this kid is like the model child, but she was suffering. And I was so consumed with trying to manage what's going on in my household. I can't even go to work at this point. So financially, there's a strain there as well. I can't even function. My brain is like so everywhere. I don't know if I'm going left. I don't know if I'm going right. I couldn't even eat. It was like to take a shower seemed like the most uphill climb you've ever experienced in your life. I was so depressed, so just horrified at the state of my house. My husband and I, it's like, what husband? I'm only fixated on on these kids, what's going on with them. And my poor daughter, she really got neglected during this time. She really did, because she wasn't a squeaky wheel. She didn't have any trauma going on. She just was kind of pushed off to the side.
Wow.
And that's awful for her, you know, and that's a really tender age to see your mom, one, falling apart. Visually, I did not even look like the same person. My hair was falling out. I couldn't leave my house. I just was in such a bad state mentally, and physically, but I didn't even look like myself. I visually looked like a different person.
Mm-hmm.
So for my daughter to see this, like, you know, I had a mom, and my brother's been in trouble most of my life. So he's been gone for a good majority of, you know, the time that she was there. So that wasn't in any big shock, or she wasn't missing that piece with her brother being gone. But my other son, who lost his dad, he also lost his brother. You know, it's like my brother's gone, my dad's gone, my mom is just completely fucking AWOL. She's out there, like, she's just nuts. She's acting crazy. Back, you know, on drugs, alcohol, all of it. And it's just like I abandoned them mentally. Like, I just shut down. I just completely shut down. Wow. And I wish that I had the, you know, ability to recognize, like, I need help. I wish that I had that understanding.
And was there anybody, there was absolutely nobody that was reaching out, trying to be supportive, or were you like isolating your situation?
I was isolating myself. I was isolated because of the, you know, like, I had a couple coworkers that reached out to me. I had housekeepers at that time. My housekeepers reached out to me to see if I was okay. But my immediate circle that I felt like should have, you know, been there or whatever, they weren't. And I don't say that to be insulting to them or to down them in any way. Like I said, my husband, his family, the friends that I had made outside of the East Side, they're not from that world. Yeah. They don't understand what all of this means, what I'm doing, to the impact that this is having on me. So they start, I think, isolating a bit themselves. My marriage you start to have a crack there of like, okay, now we're kind of we're not one anymore. We're becoming two entities. And to my husband's credit, I can now look back and see, and I hope any mom that's out there who's going through this right now, I hope you can hear me, and I hope this touches you. I did not understand at the time that I felt like I'm being abandoned by my husband. My husband doesn't care. He doesn't care what's happening to my son. He doesn't have my back right now.
Yeah.
That's what I thought at the time. But after many deep discussions that we've had in healing through this journey, and just the insight that I've gained over all of the years that I've been at this man was doing his very, very, very best. And he was doing a great job. He had to make sure that damn light stayed on. He had to make sure that my daughter was okay, that she was getting to school, because I wasn't doing any of that. He had to go to the grocery store and go grocery shopping. He had to make sure that everything in the house was running. I saw that as, oh, he doesn't care. I've been abandoned. This probably isn't going to work out. This is like, he just doesn't get it. He doesn't love my son. That's what I took that as. And I was completely wrong, but that was my interpretation, and that was my experience at that time. That was my perception at that time. And his perception was completely different. His perception is, okay, she's out of her mind. Someone has to keep the house standing. And that's my role as the man of the house. That's my job is, okay, I can't fix her right now, but I got to make sure that the mortgage is paid, that our daughter gets to school, that he goes to her school functions, that he had to step in where I stepped out.
Mm.
So I think that happens more often, and we don't acknowledge that as the mom, as the one, and the trauma and all the bullshit that we're dealing with and we're going through. We don't acknowledge the husbands that stick by us. A lot of husbands leave. A lot of marriages break up from all of this. My kids started not wanting to be around me, and I was so offended by it. Like my older kids, the younger ones, they didn't even want anything to do with me. I would try to give them a hug, and I could like feel them pulling away from me. Well, of course they would. What the hell they want anything to do with me? I'm acting batshit crazy. I'm hyper focused on my one son, and I'm in a state of fight or flight because I'm trying to save him. And I mean, looking back, I wouldn't want to be around my ass either. And that's just being real. I would not want to be around me. But at the time, I was so offended by it. And I see a lot of moms who are in the same boat. It's like, my husband doesn't understand. He's not, visiting my son or daughter. He's not, feeling the same way I'm feeling. Well, everybody handles and processes trauma differently. Mine was break down, lose your shit. And in the world that I come from, it's very much the world that I grew up in was, if there's a action, there's a reaction. Action, reaction, action, reaction. That's how I was growing up. That's what I learned. That's what I saw. That's just what it was. My husband's very calm, cool, collected, thinks things through. He's not reactive at all. So while he was trying to be very calm and keep the house calm, I took that as, okay, you don't love my son. You don't care about what's happening with me. And we've been able to work through that. So it's been really interesting when we've had those deep, hard, difficult, long conversations, but hearing each other out. We both had a different interpretation and experience of the same event.
Yeah.
And I think there's people and family members that we need to look back and give credit where credit is due, where they held it together.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. And that, that's hard to get, because, man, I give a lot of props to your present husband, that has been there by your side, taking care of what he needs to take care of, because like you said, he's not with that lifestyle. So
yeah, this totally foreign to him. And he didn't even know how to respond to it. It's like, he doesn't know how to respond to that.
Yeah.
It's something you either understand or you don't understand.
And in them situations, a lot of times, it could be a hopeless situation for him too, because he doesn't know how this is going to end. He doesn't know how much longer do I got to put up with this, Is this going to come to an end eventually, And man, that's a hard place to be in.
Yeah, and he just wants a normal life. Like this is not what he signed up for. When he met me with 3 little kids and decided to take on this responsibility and be a stepfather to the one whose dad was still alive and to the 2 that their dad had passed, he took on a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, sounds
and
like
shit. I'm a handful.
By yourself.
You can tell. You know this already about me, okay? I know it. I am a handful, and he is the most calm, loving, kind human being. And for him to say, "There's a tornado. Let me walk in it because I love this woman," and stick by her side through all the craziness, through the addiction. I wasn't an addict when he met me. I became an addict later. Because of trauma, and he loved me through that. I gave him a million reasons to leave. My kids gave him a million reasons to leave. They were not, the best to him either, and he stuck around. He didn't go, and he was consistent. And so it really offends me when people say, "Oh, your kid must have grown out without a dad. It shows," and blah blah blah. No, he had a dad. My husband showed up to every soccer game. He showed up to every event that my son ever had. He missed nothing.
Wow.
Just like he did for all of the kids. He was there.
So coming back to Patrick, so when he got out at 18 years old, what was your expectations? What were you thinking at that time?
I thought, thank God it's over. It is over. He has learned his lesson. He has been, I'm going to have to get him in some type of therapy or something to process all this trauma and drama that he's been through.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm going to go in. I got this lawsuit going. I told all those COs, I'm getting all your asses fired. I said, I'm coming in. Like, I'm going to destroy this whole shit you got going on here. So I thought that'll be where the focus will be. He is done now. We're going to work on getting his education, get him some job skills, maybe get him in the trades, something that, you know, he could do. I had so many plans, but the first one was, damn, bring him back home. The relief. Well, guess what? That lasted about 24 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
24 hours. His ass hit the streets. 24 hours. I had him for 24 hours. I hugged him. We shared a meal. And it was horrible. I'm like, he said, I'm going to take out the trash. I said, wow, that's great. That's great. One of his homeboys came and picked him up. Off he went back to the east side. And he was gone for 3 days. No word. Just gone. Well, during that time, he got introduced to, you know, he hadn't had any experience with fentanyl. This is when fentanyl was like, you know, this is 5 years ago. So this is when fentanyl was really starting to, you know, ramp up. And so he smoked fentanyl with some kids that he had known. He didn't even have time to make friends in the real world. You know, at 13 going in, the only people he knew were gang members from Crossroads.
Yeah.
That's what he knew. So when he got out, he called him the ones that had gotten out that, oh, this one's my homie, this one's my homie. Everybody's your homie. Yeah, right. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Everybody's your homie. All right. Good deal. Wow. So he's going to run around with them, smoke some fentanyl, and they go do a carjacking 6 days after he's out. Oh, I waited. I fought. It makes me tired thinking about it right now. I just want to take a nap right now thinking about it.
Wow.
His ass, I get a call from county jail, and it says his name on there, or I don't know if it says name at that time. I think that was prison, but I can't even remember. But it said like this call from Kern County Jail, whatever it was. And I said, oh shit, here we go again. And I'm like, his ass can stay in there. You know what? I'm so sick of this. He's going through withdrawals, begging, please let me out, let me out. No, you can stay in there. Just, I'm tired. Like, you're out running the streets for 3 days. I couldn't find you. Like, maybe county jail is where you need to, like, land for a little bit. You need to, like, see what your charges are going to be. They got him with, there was an iPhone that was in the backpack in the vehicle that these kids stole. He was 18. There was a kid that was 16. They had variable ages. They were all real young. And so there was some old iPhone that was in a backpack, and it was broken, didn't even work. But he also got charged with armed robbery for that broken iPhone. And he had like 5 or 6 different charges, $250,000 bond. It was crazy. So I wasn't going to bail him out. It's like, no, I'm not bailing you out. I'm certainly not putting up my house to, you know, bail him out. You know, $250,000 is a big bond. That's not typical. Yeah, I would think more like $50,000 bond, but his was $250,000. And I asked his girlfriend at the time if she could go put money on his books for me, because I don't know how to do it. For my mother, for my brother, for my sister, my nephew, he's in county now, but for all my family members that are not in county, he's in prison, but for all my family members that have ever been locked up, I've never put money on their books. Not once, ever. I didn't know how to use the kiosk. I didn't know how to do any of it. So his girlfriend said, okay, I could go do it for you. So she goes and does it. Well, on her way back from Laredo Jail, she gets in a horrific rollover car accident. And this young girl suffers some she's ejected from the vehicle. She has severe brain damage, and she's not supposed to make it. So we're supposed to have a funeral for her. So I bail my son out so he can go to the funeral. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if that's to make me regret this if he doesn't go to the funeral. So I bail him out. Well, guess what? She wakes up.
Oh my goodness.
Wakes up. Her parents were homeless. She had nowhere to go, and she is horrifically injured. I mean, horrifically. She had a stroke. She had an aneurysm that was still active. Me being from the medical field, I know they're going to send her to like a facility or something to take care of her. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to take care of this girl because I think I'm the savior of the world and I got to take care of everybody. So I'm like, I have room in my house. Let me bring this girl in my house. My son sees her and is horrified. And he's like, I can't do this. I had road rash all over her. So he's like, I can't handle this. He's out on bail. Back to the streets he goes. He gets back on drugs immediately. Same day. You know, he's back getting high, which coming from myself being an addict, in active addiction for 10 years, I totally understood that. Like, honestly, I would have done the same thing. So he goes and gets high trying to deal with this now. Well, he walks into a gas station and robs them for a pack of cigarettes. A pack of cigarettes. Walks out the front door of the freaking building and makes it, I don't know, a few feet or whatever, and overdoses. Wakes up in the hospital handcuffed. So this is all within, you know, a very short span of time from when he got out of Crossroads. So it's just boom, 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 boom. And then we've got my other son at home dealing with the loss of his dad. All of this, like all around the same time. I don't even know the exact time frame, but it's all happening like around this time. So my house is in utter and total chaos.
And is this the point when you really start to feel the physical aspect of this burden that you've been battling with? Is it at this point?
Not yet. I was still really struggling, like, okay, the stress, the constant stress, but I was still in a state of fight or flight because now I'm taking care of this young girl, I'm taking care of her needs. I'm taking care of this. I'm just going. I'm just breathing. I'm just putting one foot in front of the other at this point.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until a little later where my health really started to take a turn. When my son was in the juvenile system, I'll have to back up a little bit. When my son was in the juvenile system, I developed a condition called sick sinus syndrome in my heart. It's my heart was so stressed out. So I guess we could say that this started back then is where it started. My heart was under such stress and the electricity wasn't working correctly from one side to the other side of my heart. My heart was stopping. So I happened to be found coincidentally, and I had passed out, and they did an EKG and realized my heart was stopping. So they had to put in a pacemaker. Okay, so that was at that time. Then I started having some neurological problems around that time too, where literally my brain is not, the electrical signals in my brain are not functioning properly. So I start having muscle spasms. They thought I had Parkinson's for a minute. Well, I kind of got that under control back then. Now fast forward back to where my son's out. That stuff wasn't really happening. He got locked back up. The stress, the mental stress was the worst of it at this point. The mental stress, the stress in my household, like my house is crumbling around me. My family is just crumbling. My family is in disarray. I'm not being there for any of my kids. I'm back doing drugs. I'm acting totally erratic, totally crazy. But it wasn't until more recently, after all these battles with my son was almost murdered 3 times. in prison. He was on the main line, and they almost murdered him 3 times. He was stabbed 27 times back in July of 2024. That's when I was still in my fight or flight. It was like, okay, like I told you before, for every action, there's a reaction. My main focus, and really only focus every day, day in, day out, was like my reaction. How I have to react to this. Like I have to, like, I'm not taking this on the chin. So I started acting crazy online. I started, like, you know, trying to figure out who's who, what's what, what's all moving where, how did this all happen? And I'm not going to get into too much of that just because that's, you know, getting into some gray, muddy water there. But it was all about fight or flight. And I'm ready to fight. When it comes to fight or flight, I'm ready to fight every time, especially if it comes to my kids. But the major health stuff didn't really start coming until last year. It occurred to me that I had not seen a cardiologist for my pacemaker in 8 years. I should be being seen at least once a year. They have to monitor it. They got to make sure my battery's okay. They've got to, you know, you have to go see the cardiologist. You have a pacemaker, make sure it's working, right? So you don't die. I hadn't seen a cardiologist in 8 years.
Oh, wow.
I knew my heart was starting to not feel quite right. I was starting to feel a weird feeling short of breath, not feeling, I felt like I was having less energy. And my friend started working for a cardiologist. And I said, you know what? Maybe I'll just go. Well, I went, and this was last year. I went and I had 40 days or less left on the battery of my pacemaker. They replace them at 1 to 2 years because some days the pacemaker needs to work harder than other days. I had 40 days or less.
Wow.
They said they had never seen anybody get that close to their pacemaker dying ever. They were just shocked and horrified that I had let it get that close.
Yeah, that's
But
great.
it was the stress of everything that I had been through. I didn't even have time I hadn't been to a doctor. It had been like, I think it was when my son first went into prison because my hair started falling out like in chunks. Like I looked like I was doing chemotherapy. I had bald spots on my head. Yeah. I had rashes on my skin, like welts. My whole, every bit of my body was in distress.
Yeah.
So I had completely neglected myself. I hadn't been taking my heart medication. I hadn't seen a doctor. I hadn't done anything. And I have medical conditions that need to be, monitored, maintained. The stuff for my neurological system that misfires. I hadn't been taking any of these medications. I didn't care. And to be honest with you, you and I had this conversation before when we spoke. I had just accepted that, they keep coming for my son. If that happens, if that's God's will and that's what's going to happen and his life is taken, I'm going with him. That was the plan, and there was a plan in place for that, and that is exactly where we were going together. We were going together. It's like if I can't have my son in this world, I'm going to have him in the next one.
Wow.
Now, how selfish and horrible of a thing to think of, because I have a whole other family.
Yeah.
I have a daughter who is looking at her mom completely falling apart. All anybody hears about is my son this, my son that. He's all I can think about. It felt like, for me, if you can imagine, and you prison moms out there, you may be able to relate to this. It felt like I took my kids to the zoo, and then this little one climbed the fence and jumped over into the lion's den. And he's stuck there in the lion's den, being surrounded and circled by, to me, he's still just my little cub. Reality is he's a shithead who's breaking the law and he's in his addiction and just doing drugs, out there gang banging, doing all this stuff. That's the reality of the situation. But to me, as a mother, my little cub has fallen into this lion's den. So I got to figure out a way to dig a hole underneath. I got to climb over the top of the electric fence. I don't care if I get electrocuted. I got to get to him. I have to have him and help him. The other kids on this side of the gate, they're okay. They're not at risk of dying. It's like life or death. My priority has to go with the one that is the probability of death is extremely high. That's where my focus had to go.
Yeah.
But to get to the point, and I hope no other mother or family member or father or anybody experiences this, or even a wife or anybody, I hope they never get to the point that I was, that I had made up my mind. I had already planned my son's funeral. I had made up my mind. If this is what happens, I'm going with him. We're going to go together, and then that'll be it. I'm acting so crazy. It'll be better for everyone around me if me and him both just went together.
Wow.
It would be a relief for them. They could move on with their lives. They could just be in a better place. That's what my thought process distorted completely, totally distorted. And I can see that now, but that was my experience at that time.
Yeah.
My heart was broken. When you get a next of kin notification from CDCR and they tell you, we're sorry for your loss. Your son was just medevaced out. We're very sorry for your loss, and hang up the phone.
Wow.
That was the first time.
That's brutal. That is very brutal.
Horrific. And I wanted to make a comment about that too. I have to just give a shout out to my followers on TikTok for that experience. I was drinking, acting crazy, talking the most shit online. To the people who did this to my son, I'm coming for everybody. I'm coming for I'm gonna blow up the whole place if I have to. Basically, right? I'm just talking crazy. I'm threatening people. I'm threatening the warden. I'm threatening it doesn't matter because I don't care because I'm going with them anyways. So I'm gonna make the news type situation. That's how wild and out there I was. I had so many people from TikTok reach out to me and say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm here for you. If you need somebody to talk to, I can't imagine what you're going through. Can I Uber Eats you some food?" None of the people around me were offering any type of support. My own family wasn't.
Yeah.
But my followers on TikTok were. They were like, "We need to do a GoFundMe." It's like action. I mean, I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages. I couldn't even respond to everybody, but I had so much love and so much support and so many people telling me, "We're thinking of you. We're praying for you. We're here for you." In my own
a lot of, if you don't mind me, because a lot of your platform, a lot of your followers they're all prison moms. A lot of them are prison moms, prison wives.
Prison wives, people that are currently incarcerated, that have phones, whatever. A lot of people in the system, and most of my followers are either COs that they're just they hate on me, whatever. That's cool. Thank you for driving my algorithm, COs. But it's a prison community. Is my whole platform is all prison community based. My family doesn't follow me on there. I don't. I've got I think one coworker that followed me on there once. My hairdresser follows me on there, but it's all people that I organically met through TikTok. Yeah. And some of them I've met in real life. A couple of them I've become actual friends with. But those were the people who really got me through that and who told me, "Hey, you need to shut up." I'm trying to say this as nicely as possible. You are really doing the most right now.
Yeah.
You need to mellow out and take a breath.
Hey, let me ask you something. And you could answer you know, are you practicing sobriety now? I mean, are you
Yes.
still
Yes.
using? How did that come about? How did you stop using? You were using fentanyl. Was that your drug of choice?
Fentanyl was my drug of choice. Yeah, that was definitely my drug of choice.
Alcohol mix, right? And
Oh,
alcohol.
alcohol. I'm a poly addict, so anything that I could get my hands on. But primarily, fentanyl was my drug of choice. Is my drug of choice because I could just shut it all off. I could just shut it all off. And fentanyl is my son's drug of choice, so I relate to him very much in that way. And it's like if I can't even get my shit under control to deal with reality, it's really difficult right now for me to see him battling. Not that I don't know if he's on fentanyl now or what, but he's in his addiction right now. And it's really difficult for me because if I were in his shoes, I'd probably be doing the same thing, you know. But I came to the point where it's like I looked around at my house. My house was falling apart. I was like, at this point, I already know they're going to keep coming for my son. He's going to lose his life. I'm going to be going with him. My husband is such a good person and such an incredible and lovely human being, and like the most beautiful person that I've ever had the privilege of knowing. He is way too good for any of this. He is young enough. He needs to go live his life and find somebody that's like a nice church lady that like who has no craziness. That's what he deserves. He deserves nothing but the best, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking around my house one day and I decide, what the fuck am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just like a slap in the face. I really looked around and I thought, what the fuck am I doing? Who have I become? My kids want nothing to do with me pretty much at this point. My husband, we're so far like disassociated. It's like we live together, we're living two separate worlds. And I love this man so much, but it's almost like I want to save him from me, like kind of push him away to save him from me and my chaos and push him away. Like, go find somebody better. Like save yourself, jump ship, save yourself. And he didn't. And he rode with me through that. And it was like, I have to do something different. And I decided if I go with my son, if he is murdered, they've tried to get him 3 times. I've never known anybody to survive 3 times. I've never known anybody to survive 2 times. He survived 3 times.
Wow.
He clearly has a purpose on this earth, right? So I believe that. But I thought, what would I do to these other kids if I did that? My youngest son already lost his dad. What would that do to him if he lost me? It hadn't even registered in my brain. Like what this would do to my husband, who has been right there by my side, who has stuck by me, who has dealt with my bullshit to infinity.
Yeah.
Never gave up on me. My daughter, to lose her mother, that's a fucked up thing to do. That is a really horrific, shitty thing to do. And that makes me a terrible person. And at that moment, I'm like, I have to take care of the mother of my children. Even if I don't care about myself, I don't care about my own life right now. I have to take care of the mother of my children because I love my children. I love my husband. I need to take care of my husband's wife because that's taking care of my husband.
So how were you able to get it together? How, what?
It was a slow process. It's a slow process. I ended up being put on Suboxone, and I came off Suboxone cold turkey, 16 milligrams, and just did it like rotting on the floor. It took me 31 days to get off Suboxone cold turkey, and it was horrific, but I did it, and I am completely off of all of that now. And that withdrawal, I'll tell you right now, you go through that withdrawal and you survive it. And you make it to a year, I promise you. That withdrawal alone will make you not want to touch that shit again. But what I really learned is this. This is what I really learned. And for the prison moms out there, this is super, super, super important. As if I can relay a message to you, let it be this. Regardless of what our children do, we don't condone it. We don't like it. We for those of us who choose to stick by them, we can stick by them, but we got to have limitations on what we're willing to sacrifice of ourselves. We're not sacrificial lambs. We're not martyrs, right? I was behaving in a way. It's like, I'm a martyr. I'm going to die with my son. No. I have a life to live, and I deserve to be happy too. And I deserve freedom. I was in a self-imposed prison, and I had the key the whole time. I was holding the key in my hand. All I had to do was unlock the door and let myself out. That's all I had to do. I had the key. The key was learning to live life again in the absence of my son.
Wow.
I had to learn to live with his absence. He's not dead. He is alive. And God willing, he will continue to be alive to outlive me by a long time. But I know that his high risk lifestyle and his behavior and his drug use and all the stuff that he's doing puts him at a really high risk.
Yeah.
So, there's a part of me that had to make peace with that's his choice.
Yeah.
Just like that's his choice, it's not my other kids' choice. They need their mom. So in me taking care of my children's mother meant I had to get up, I had to get sober. And I've had a couple relapses with alcohol that, were just like that. You know what? I got to take that on the chin. I got to own it. Like, it is what it is. I had to take it on the chin. Everybody was upset with me, and they're entitled to be upset with me. They've been down this road with me for a long time. So last year I had a couple relapses with alcohol, not drugs. And those were rough. It was rough. It was like before I would have wallowed in that and been like, well, fuck it. I already fucked up and everybody's mad at me. And now, whatever. It's just easier just to I don't want to deal with everybody being mad at me, and I don't want to deal with any of this. So I'm just going to go drink again.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done before. But I'm learning to change my patterns of behavior. So instead, I had to face it. I had to just look at everybody. Yep, that's what happened. That's what I did.
Hey, something that you mentioned during our talk, is early when he was in prison and you started realizing that he picked up in his addiction, and there was some calls made that his life was being threatened, that he needed to pay this off, and you stepped in at that time, as a loving mom. But eventually, though, most recently, you said that you had to really put your foot down and tell him, that's it, I'm done. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I started, my husband actually saw it before I did. Because my son can smooth talk me. He can smooth talk me. He's smooth. But my husband sees it because he's like on the outside, and my husband is protective of me, and he's looking over, watching whoever I'm interacting with. He's watching. Just like right now. He's watching. He's watching this whole thing. He's watching, not in a weird, creepy way, but he's an observer, and he's even with my own child, he's going to make sure that my own child is not trying to take advantage of me to, whatever, because it happens and I fall for it. It's like, oh, all the bullshit tricks. My TV is broken. I broke someone else's TV. I got to pay for it. My shoes, I heard all of it. It's all the bullshit. My shoes were stolen, all the game. He ran all the game on me for in the beginning. It was really good. Then he's gotten really creative over time, and it's like, oh, now this and that. And I'm like, but where he gets me nowadays is, well, most recently, is he will just harass me nonstop. Like when I was in the hospital last year, as we talked about, I was fighting for my life, like fighting for my life. like literally they were going to intubate me. And he's calling me 30 times, trying to get money out of me. That's when I realized, okay, so now we're here. Like, you're at this point in your addiction. We're here now. Okay. We've gotten to that point now where there is zero, compassion. Like, you know, if you're deep in addiction, you have blinders like this on, and all you care about is, I got to get high. I got to get high. I got to get high. It's the only thing you think about. It's the only thing your brain wants to think about. And you don't care about the people around you. Yeah. I know. I lived it. I did it. I had the blinders on, and everybody else was like this. So that's what he's doing to me while I'm in the hospital. And I realized, again, I'm in this self-imposed prison. It was just like, I might die right now. This might be the last conversation that we have. I'm signing the paperwork to be intubated. They're talking about that I got to go into an induced coma because my throat's spasming shut. My heart rate was over 200. My blood pressure was tanking out. My body was under so much stress. And he's trying to get money out of me, trying to hustle money out of me. And he's not a bad person.
Yeah.
He's in his addiction.
Yeah.
He's in his addiction. I wasn't a bad person when I was in my addiction, and I've been able to come out the other side. And I've always been a good person. I've made shitty choices, and I've done shitty things, and I've behaved in a very, very, very selfish way all along the road. And that's what he's doing right now. So I don't take offense to it, but I had to understand that it's time now to shut it down, because I'm feeding his addiction. I am feeding his addiction. I have paid the drug debts. I have done things on the outs to, make things okay for him, which I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole other thing. But I have done it all. And guess where it's gotten him? Nowhere.
Yeah.
Have I helped him at all? No. What I've done is I've enabled him. I've allowed this monster to grow. I have fed it for 5 years. So I'm feeding this monster for 5 years. I can't even be mad at the monster at this point. Not that my son's a monster, but the addiction monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
I fed it. And so now, just like with me, and you, I think you know this to be true as well. You cannot bully somebody into sobriety. You cannot love them into sobriety. You cannot guilt them into sobriety. You cannot bully them. None of it. It doesn't work. It is your own internal switch that gets flipped.
Yeah.
And you will decide when you want to get sober, and when you want to make your family a priority, and when you want to make yourself better. You are the only person that can do that.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part about loving an addict. That's a hard part about loving someone in their addiction.
Yeah.
So I've had to create some space.
I wanted to ask you too, with all his, disabilities, is he getting some help now? Because I heard CDCR now, I don't know, it's been a long time, but, I hear about the EOP program and all this and that, do you see him benefiting at all on that end at all?
No. He went to a place in Sacramento to get some help. I don't want to give too much of this area of his business, but for some medical stuff. And that he was there for a week. They shipped him somewhere else, and all of the care stopped. All of the mental health care, all the treatment, everything was just like stopped. It was just like, well, that was a little vacation of trying to get help for a week. And when he was transferred, that just all went out the window. So I see that, there's a tremendous lack of care for him, or not care necessarily, but resources available.
Yeah,
or it could be I'm not there. It could be that he's not utilizing it, and I'm not hearing about it. But from what I understand, and I know, and I have a lot of friends that are currently incarcerated. I have a lot of people that I, associate with and talk with from TikTok, from my family, whatever. I'm hearing that there's not a lot of mental health services that are available. So whether that's true or not, I don't have any paperwork to see like what actually what they legally have to provide or not provide. But my son certainly, one way or another, whether it's his choice or it's unavailable to him, he's not getting mental health services that he needs. No.
So you don't see no improvement.
No, we're getting worse.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we're getting worse because now he's had 3 attempts on his life. I mean, horrific attempts on his life. That alone, it will fuck somebody up for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And he gets out of the hospital or whatever, wakes up from the coma, all of this stuff. And you're just expected to like act normal. I can only speak for myself, but I know if someone stabbed me 27 times and all kill shots, if they got me that way, I would not be able to function normally.
Yeah.
So I don't ask myself, why does he turn to drugs? Why is he an addict? I don't ask myself that. I say, why not? Because what are the other options? And I'm terrified for when he's released. He's got all of this baggage and going back to since he was 13 years old and back to when he was 8 years old. You've got all of this, and then you're going to just pop that door open, and what? Where do we go from there?
Yeah.
What do we do at that point?
You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer this, but does he still have a lot more time to do, or?
No, he doesn't. No, and just because of the situation, I don't want to go up too much of it, but within the next few years. So he's already done 5 years. He's got a few years left. So.
Oh.
But there may be opportunities to get out sooner. It's going to be a lot based on his behavior. It's going to be on what he's doing or not doing. And he's got to make better choices. And when I first started my platform, I stuck up for him a lot. I stuck up for him so much. No matter what he did, I defended. Because that's my son, right? And I did not expect my TikTok I didn't expect to have any down followers. I was just like a grieving mother on there, grieving this living child. Wishing I just want my son back. I lost him for 4.5 years. I had him for 6 days, out here in the free world. I was just grieving, and I had nobody to express it to. I can't talk to my husband about it because he can't comprehend it. My friends don't want to hear about that because they're not with that life either.
Yeah.
Anybody that is incarcerated, that I know, they don't feel sorry for him. They're like, shit, he got out. That's on him. That's his own choices. Like, don't feel sorry for him. So I had nobody to share this experience with. So I just went to TikTok just to get it out, making videos and just, I love my son, like, free my son. And then it turned into this whole thing. And I just didn't expect it to like grow like that.
Man, you know what? I appreciate you being so transparent though, and coming from the heart. You know what I mean? Anybody viewing this can feel your heart right now and your honesty and your sincerity, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot in what you did tonight, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah, you're so welcome, and I appreciate you having me on here. And it's a story I've never shared before. I've had a lot of people ask. I've had 2 other people ask me to do a podcast, and they've got quite large followings, and I just wasn't ready to do it. So you happened to reach out to me at a time where it was like, okay, I'm ready to share the story. And, he may be upset that I shared the story. He may not be. I don't know. But it's my story to share. It's my experience. It's my life that I have lived and I have suffered through. And if I could leave a message to the moms out there who are where I was 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. If I could say something to you guys, it's this. If your kid's in county, if your kid's just made it upstate, if your kid's is in a federal system, whatever it is, it's ultimately going to be up to you whether you choose to stand by your child or not. But please, please take care of yourself, take care of your health. Don't minimize the impact that your behavior has on the rest of your family. Your kids will pull away from you, your other children, your grandkids, your other, your siblings, whoever, your parents, people will start to pull away from you. Acknowledge that, try to correct it. And I know a lot of us turn to drugs and alcohol. That's a common theme. There's a lot of us that have heart attacks, strokes. I've seen it over and over and over in the prison mom community. Our health suffers. And I can tell you, I almost lost my life last year. I came, within 40 days of my pacemaker stopping and me not being here. And I just, from not going to the cardiologist for 8 years, I just neglected myself. I neglected myself. I neglected my family. I neglected my home. I hope that you do. I hope you can learn something from my story and that you can make an effort to take care of yourself, even if it is just, I got to get up today and I got to take a shower. That one thing, brush my teeth, take a shower. If you can just accomplish that, if you can't even accomplish that, bird bath it, get a wash rag and just wipe yourself down. That sometimes can lead you to, okay, maybe now I can eat a few crackers and some water. Slow steps. And then maybe make a doctor's appointment, maybe make a psychiatrist appointment. A lot of people don't like to talk about that. It's different for different cultures. But if you feel like you are not able to function, please seek out help. I had to seek out a psychiatrist. And my God, I wish I would, not a psychiatrist, I'm sorry, a therapist. I wish I would have done that years ago. I I learned breathing techniques. I've learned all kinds of things, and I learned through therapy how my behavior was affecting my family and why everybody was pulling away from me and why I was isolating myself. And that helped me to come back from that. So if you could avoid doing that for 10 years, like I did with 9 years, you're doing yourself and your family a big favor. Take care of yourself. You don't have to stand by your child. There's no law that says you have to, but I would encourage you to, because this is the time as mothers that we need to step up. Our kids need us. They need our guidance. They need our help. And I don't mean financially. If your kids are abusing you financially, and if they're running games on you, just shut it down. I did not know that these games were being run on me in the beginning. If you're hearing, oh, I broke somebody's TV, I got to replace it, or they're going to kill me. That's a common one. I fell for that one. Lord knows I fell for that one. My shoes got stolen. This happened. I broke someone's tablet. I got to pay for it. And don't post them on pen pal websites. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's crazy. Don't do it. There's a lot of drama that comes along with that too. Love the prison wives, but there's a lot of drama that comes along with that. But please take care of yourself. Take care of your other children. Your other children need you too. You cannot change the outcome of what your child in prison chooses to do. You are not that. You just don't have that kind of power. You can't change the outcome. You can encourage. You can try to guide. But ultimately, the only person that you have control over is yourself. It's yourself. That's it. You can't control them. If they're going to do drugs, they're going to do drugs. Just don't contribute to paying for it like I did. Try to do something different. Take that money and take one of your other kids out to go to a movie and go do something productive. Take that time and invest that money in doing something with your spouse. Take that time and go get your nails done. And these kids who run this game about, I have to have, $400 a month, $600 a month. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. They don't need that. I see that all the time in the prison mom community. These kids will try to scam you. They do it. It's just part of the lifestyle for a lot of us that we go through. Take care of yourself, invest in your family, invest in yourself, see your doctor, see a therapist, and work out a plan for yourself and how you are going to survive and endure the time that your child has. Some of you have a child with life. I don't know what it's like to have that experience, but I encourage you to seek help. Seek a plan, have a safety plan in order in case something does happen to your child. If you are having, negative thoughts or thoughts about taking your life, like I was, try to talk to somebody that you're close with. Talk about it. I didn't talk about it, just the decision was made for me, and that was foolish because that would have destroyed it. It's a domino. It's a bomb that goes off and shrapnel hits your other kids. So if you're having thoughts or feelings like that or harming yourself in any way, I really encourage you to reach out for help. Reach out, talk to your doctor. Maybe medication is an option for you. Whatever it is, I encourage you to get the help that you need. Don't ignore it. Don't let it go on and on and on like I did, because I suffered and my family suffered for so long, and it wasn't necessary. And my son gained nothing from it. He gained nothing from it. It didn't help him one bit. To date, I love him with all my heart, but he's accomplished absolutely nothing while being in prison. Nothing. He doesn't have a certificate. He doesn't have a degree. He's been there 5 years. He's accomplished nothing except a drug habit that gets worse and worse, that I fed into, that I paid for. So I just thank you for your time, and I just say stay strong. Keep your head up, stay strong. The process is long. If they're you got their charges, you're gonna have to learn all of these things. You're gonna have to learn how to put money on the books. You're gonna have to learn how to go visit. You have to learn how to what to wear to go visit. You're gonna have to change your clothes 5 million times because the CO is being a bitch that day and decides just randomly that even though you're matching the code, well, nope, just go change. They do that. It's a headache. It's a lot of work, but if you can go visit your kid, it means a lot to them. It does. And it pulls a lot of kids, a lot of our kids, pulls them one more day. It just, sometimes that one visit could pull you one more day and one more day and one more day until eventually the days get shorter and shorter and shorter. And you're able to eventually make it to the finish line. If your kid's doing life, then you're gonna have to fight a different plan than my plan is, because we're all on our own journey. But I wish you guys all the best luck, and please take care of yourself. And like JoJo's mother passed away while he was incarcerated, and we've lost a lot of moms on this journey. A lot of them die. One of my best friends in the world, his mom passed while he was in prison doing 17 years, and it's horrible. We want to see our kids in the free world on the other side of the gate. That's the goal. And you're not going to make it there if you don't take care of yourself. And I almost did not make it last year. I came very close. You can go check out my page on TikTok, Free My Son, and you can see the video that I have of the stuff that I went through.
Yeah. Man, I thank you so much. And you know what? I don't know if you're a religious person, you got a personal relationship with God, but I want you to know I've been praying for you, since we talked, because I was like, I was thinking of my mom, as you shared your story, because people that know me know that I was a hot mess, as a young boy, and put my mom through the ringer. And I was very selfish, not disregarding her, and what she was going through. And that's kind of what drove me to what I do today, because I see it all the time. We could get all high power in there and talk about running this yard and that yard, and we're in there doing all this crazy stuff. Well, we have family out here suffering, just like you're suffering, what I mean, to a certain extent. And
my daughter and I have all my kids, like it's a domino effect.
Everybody's affected. That's what I try to, put out there all the time. When I go speak in prisons, I make it a point now to talk about, your family's out here suffering. I make it a point, because a lot of guys in there, just like myself, we want our package. We want to manipulate, to get our money, get our stuff. And for real, it's very selfish, being in there, and it's ugly.
And I hope that the people that I can touch that are in there who are watching my videos, who reach out to me and like, man, I wish I had a mom like you, or I do have a mom like you, or my mom passed. I hope they can see the suffering that I'm going through and try to think like, hey, my mom's still alive, or I I hope my mom's not going through this. No, your mom is going through this. Your mom is going through hell. So make better choices.
Yeah. But anyways, we're gonna be wrapping it up now. We're how far are we? An hour and 34 minutes. You did excellent. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Jojo.
And I wanted you to know though, I'm gonna continue to pray for you and your journey going forward. Yeah,
I sure appreciate it.
I know it's a tough road, and I pray, somehow, some way that God would touch him in there. I believe that God is all powerful, that God is able to transform lives and set people's minds straight. I believe that, and I'm going to believe that for Patrick. I'm going to pray for him.
I think we all have a destiny. I think we all have a path. And I'm 43 years old. I just got sober like a year ago, so it took me a long time. It took me a long time in my addiction. It took me a long time in my selfishness to find my path. And guess what? I am the happiest that I have been in so long. I have a wonderful relationship with my husband. We go on walks on the beach together now. We go ride bikes together. We go look at horses and donkeys out while we're riding bikes around. Like that might seem like something just so simple to somebody, or it might seem silly to somebody. No, I'm reconnecting with my husband. I'm reconnecting with my daughter. I'm showing up to her sporting events. I'm being present. I have 3 grandchildren now that have been born since my son's been incarcerated. I've got a newborn granddaughter. It's like I have this beautiful life. I've got a mother-in-law I love very much. And, I want to be there for all of these things.
Yeah.
So the decision to take care of my children's mother, my husband's wife, that's what really sits with me, is that even if I don't care about myself, I care about him and his wife. I care about my children and their mother, because if their mother's not taken care of, then they're suffering. So if I can't do it for myself, I got to do it for them. Yes.
And you're doing a good job of that right now. And stay connected to people that really care about you and your well-being and your family, because it's hard to find them type of people that will be there for you. And just embrace it and accept the help. And I think you're doing a great job right now at this moment, so continue. And
I'm gonna keep on. I'm keeping on. And you know what? And when I have fallen, I brushed myself off, took it on the chin, took the L, and got right back to it, and got right. And I think that's the key is just you just keep going. You just keep going. You don't lay in it, because that's what a lot of people, the addicts, do, is we lay in it and we feel sorry for ourselves and we don't want to take accountability. Nope, I got to own my shit and move on. And here we are. And I'm the happiest place that I've been in so many years. And so I know it's possible. And I know the moms out there, I hope my story can inspire you in some way. If not, I hope you learned something. And I'm just really happy that my friend Jojo allowed me to have some time to come on here and share my experience and my journey.
Yeah, I think most definitely you did a lot of encouraging, just to continue to fight, and, for all the right things, you definitely put that out there, and I thank you for that. And like I said, I'll definitely be in touch, and I'll continue to pray for you. And I just pray God's peace and blessings upon you and your family and Patrick. I will definitely continue to pray for Patrick by name. And
he's a good person. He really is. And he's got a good heart. He's just lost. He's just lost right now. He hasn't found his way yet, but he is a good human being, and he's loved.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'll definitely, like I said, I'll follow up with you and just, check up on you and make sure all is going well. But God bless you, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Thank you so much, Jojo. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, people, so there it is, man. If you didn't catch it from the beginning, go back and replay it, share the video. She has a tremendous story, man. I God bless her heart, and for the fight that she's been in. Man, that's a lot for a mother to bear, man. when she told me about that phone call that CDCR called and told her that, hey, I'm sorry for your loss. Your son was just, blasted 27 times. He's being air vac to a trauma center. Man, can you imagine getting that call and them just hanging up on you? I mean, man, that is crazy. But anyways, I just wanted to disconnect. Hold on real quick. Let me see. Just wanted to, say thank you guys for tapping in tonight, man. I appreciate you guys. And you guys, man, hey, I ask you guys to please excuse me for a lot of coughing. I've been sick the last couple of days. I don't know if it was the flu or what it is. I just been juicing up, man, just juicing, taking, a lot of ginger. I just been drinking a lot of water, a lot of ginger, a lot of orange juice, trying to flush whatever this is, man. But I didn't want to cancel tonight. After talking to her, I knew her story was deep and I knew it would impact some lives tonight. So I just encourage you guys, man, to, continue fighting the good fight of faith. You guys take care. I will be back next week with an in-person interview. So be sure to tap in next Sunday evening. And if you haven't hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the share. Appreciate you guys. God bless you guys. You guys have a great week. Talk to you soon.